Hello friends, in this lecture we will learn about Mauryan Empire. The sources which give information about Mauryan Empire are divided into literary source, archaeological source, Ashokanedict and inscriptions and material remains. In literary source, Greek and Latin literatures are major one, and in Greek book, Indica give a lot of information about Mauryan Empire, written by Megasthenes. The second is Arthashastra. It is collection of 15 books, and one in these 15 books, 180 chapters are there. It was written by Chanakya, also known as Kautilya, Vishnugupta, and Indian Machiavelli. The Arthashastra was lost in 12th century AD, but it was rediscovered by R. Samsastri in 1905. The third book that gives information about Mauryan Empire is Mudra Rakshas, and it was written by Visakha Dutt was court person of Gupta dynasty. He lived in another age, but he wrote about uh, Chandragupta Maurya, how he overthrown Nanda Empire and stabilized Mauryan Empire. He described all this detail in Mudra Rakshas. Fourth is Buddhist literatures. In Buddhist literatures, there are a lot of description about Mauryan Empire. And fifth is Jain literature. Hemchandra of 12th century AD in his book Parisista Parvan described the life of Chandragupta Maurya. And we also get details of Mauryan Empire from Puran. And in material remains, there is coin, potteries, and tools. These are the sources of historical sources of Mauryan Empire. The first king of Mauryan Empire was Chandragupta Maurya. According to Buddhist and Jain literatures, Mauryan were Kshatri, but in other literatures, Mauryan were mentioned as Sudra. So it was debatable whether they were Kshatri or Sudra. We will not go into detail of this. We will move with Chandragupta Maurya. He ruled from 321 BC to 298 BC. With the help of Chanakya, he overthrew the last Nanda ruler Dhananand and founded the Mauryan dynasty. In Greek literature, Chandragupta was mentioned by different names. Uh, Overthrowing the Nanda ruler is described in detail in the Mudra Rakshas, a Sanskrit play by Visakha Dutt. In Greek literature, Chandragupta is known as Sandrocotus. Uh, Strabo, Pliny, and Justin describe Chandragupta Maurya as Sandrocotus, whereas Plutarch mention Chandragupta Maurya as Androcotus. Justin describe a meeting of Sandrocotus or Chandragupta Maurya with Alexander. It was Sir William Jones who concluded that both Sandrocotus and Androcotus were used by Greek writer to refer to the Chandragupta Maurya, to the ruler Chandragupta Maurya. Who was Sir William Jones? Sir William Jones was Supreme Court judge at Calcutta, and he was the founder of Asiatic Society of Bengal in 1784, and he was the first person to launch Oriental studies in India. He, he suggested that Greek, Latin, and Sanskrit have common roots. So he led the development of translation work. He translated. He he connected different language of different region. Chandragupta Maurya in 305 BC, Chandragupta Maurya marched against Seleucus Nicator, and Seleucus Nicator was ruler of northwest frontier region, and he was a Greek ruler. He got kingdom after the death of Alexander. So he was successor of Alexander for a small territory, only for northwest frontier region. And in 305 BC, when Chandragupta Maurya marched against Seleucus Nicator, there was fight, but eventually peace was concluded between the two. Seleucus, Seleucus married his daughter to Chandragupta Maurya and gifted Afghanistan, Baluchistan, and the area west of the Indus River to Chandragupta Maurya. And Chandragupta Maurya gifted 500 elephants to Seleucus. Megasthenes was a Greek ambassador sent by Seleucus Nicator to the court of Chandragupta Maurya. He lived in the Mauryan capital of Patliputra and wrote an account of Mauryan Empire. His account does not survive in full, but various Greek writers wrote with reference given to Megasthenes. So the collection of fragmented work of Megasthenes is known as Indica, and it was a Greek book. Megasthenes mentioned the society with seven divisions based on work. It was first philosopher or Brahman, second is farmer, third is herdsman, fourth craftsman, fifth soldier, sixth overlookers or inspector, seventh is government officer. In modern times, slaves were engaged in agriculture work at large scale, but Megasthenes states that he did not notice any slave in India. It is because slave in modern times had far better condition than the slave in Greek and other parts of Europe and Middle East. So how the condition of slave was different in India from other world. So it was described in Arthashastra by Kautilya. So in India, selling minor as a slave was punishable offense, but Malich were allowed to sell their minor child, only Malich category. Also, a person could be slave as a result of judicial punishment. If a person made some mistake or under debt, then judiciary can allow the enslaving that person. Slave can regain Aryahood after paying all of their debt. Once they pay all of their debt, then they can regain Aryahood. They can become Arya. And if a slave run away before paying his debt, he will be slave for lifetime. Once a slave become liberated, only he can sell himself. No one other can mortgage him as a slave. So if a person attend Arvehood, only he can sell himself as a slave. No one else can sell him as a slave. And depriving a slave of his money and privilege shall be punished with fines. So there was provision of fine if someone um, hurt the privilege or does not provide um, money to slave for their works. And there is also provision of fine for hurting and abusing the slave. If a master hurt the chastity of a female slave, then the female slave will be free from all the debt. And when a child is begotten on a female slave by her master, both the child and its mother shall at once be recognized as free. They will not be slave anymore. And during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya, road from Patliputra to Tachsila, also known as Grand Trunk Road or part of National Highway 1, was created in 8 stages under the patronage of Chandragupta Maurya. Pusya governor of Saurashtra region under Chandragupta Maurya, built Sudarshan Lake at Junagadh in Gujarat. To make Chandragupta's body resistant to poison, Kautilya used to feed him with small amounts of poison. But one day, accidentally, the food was eaten by the pregnant queen. To save the offspring, Kautilya cut the belly of the queen, and it was the time when birth of Bindusara took place. Under the guidance of Bhadrabahu, Chandragupta embraced Jainism and took Santhara at Shravanbel Gola. Here is the map that depicts the territory of Chandragupta Maurya. It was from northeast India to Afghanistan to up to Afghanistan region. He controlled a very big territory from north to west. The second ruler was Bindusara. Bindusara ruled from 298 BC to 272 BC. Uh, he was known with different name in different books. Uh, Greek writer used to mention him Amitro Chats, and Chinese used to call him Vindupala. In Jain text, he was referred as Sinha Sena, and in Vayu Puran, he was mentioned as Bhadrasara. He appointed Asoka as governor of Ujjain. During his reign, two revolts happened in Tatsila. First time, he sent Asoka to suppress the revolt, and he successfully suppressed the revolt in Tatsila. Second time, he sent Susimma, his eldest son, to suppress the revolt, but Susimma failed to suppress the revolt. He expelled Kautilya from Magध after knowing the death of his mother. That that Kautilya cut the belly of his mother. Philadelphus, Egyptian king, sent an envoy, Dionysius, to India, to the court of Bindusara. Bindusara requested Antiochus I, successor of Seleucus Nicator, to send a philosopher, wine and anjeer. Antiochus sent wine and anjeer, but refused to send a philosopher. According to A. L. Bhasm, Bindusara patronized the Ajivka sect. His father was his father was Jain sect. His father accepted Jainism, but he accepted Ajivka sect. The third ruler of Mauryan Empire is Asoka. He ruled from 269 BC to 232 BC. As per Buddhist text Deep Vasma, Asoka killed his 99 brothers to become king. But scholars rejected this theory because Bindusara had only four sons and the eldest son was Susimba. And Bindusara wants that Susimba will be his next successor. But Asok killed his brothers to become king. He fought Kaling War, and after the Kaling War, he embraced Buddhism. The war resulted in the change of Asoka. He changed from Bharigosa to Dhammagosa. Bharigosa means physical war, conquest by physical war. And he changed to Dhammagosa, which means cultural conquest, winning the heart of people, not by fighting with them. He organized the third Buddhist council at Patliputra under the chairmanship of Mogliputra Tissa, and Upgupta was also present in that third Buddhist council. He sent his son Mahindra and daughter Sangmitra to Sri Lanka to spread Buddhism, where Sangmitra planted Bodhi tree. He sent ambassadors to West Asia, Greece, and other kingdoms, and he appointed Rajakus to award and punish people for their karma, for their good work, awarding them for their good work and punishing them for their bad work. He appointed Dham Mahamantra to propagate Dhamma and he started the Dham Yatra. The Dham Yatra of Asoka is known as Divya Vadana. The Dham Yatra chronology uh, is he traveled Gaya, then he traveled Kushinagar, then he traveled Lumbini, then he went to Kapilvastu, after that Sarnath, and after that Sravasti. He introduced Vyavahar Samhita and Danda Samhita, and as per Vyavahar Samhita and Danda Samhita, same punishment was referred. Same punishment is for all Varna, and this resulted in Brahman aggression. As in Vedic time, In Vedic time or pre-Mauryan time, there was different punishment for different varna. If a Sudra do a wrong work, then he get very harsh punishment. But when the Brahman do the same mistake, then he get less punishment. But Ashoka changed this and he introduced Vyavahar Samhita and Dand Samhita. He donated Lomas Rishi cave for Ajivaka sect. Although he accepted Buddhism, but he did work for other sects also. He was tolerant for all religion. So he donated Lomas Rishi cave to Ajivaka sect. Here is the map of Asokan territory. In last map we had seen the Chandragupta Maurya territory, but in this map you will find the Ashokan territory is extended southward, and also he captured large area of beyond Afghanistan. Yeah. In south, when in north we have Ashokan territory, but in south there was Chol, Satyaputra, Pandey, and Keralaputra, four other kingdom also present at the time of Ashoka. Under Ashoka, the territorial stretch was very large. The territory was divided into five parts. The first part is Uttar Path, or northern province with capital Tachsila. The second one is Avanti Ratha, or western province with capital at Ujjain. The third one is central province with capital at Patliputra. Eastern Province, capital at Tosali, and fifth one is Dachinpat or Southern Province, capital at Suvarnagiri. The provinces were administered by governors from the royal family. The, in some provinces, it was governed by Pradeshika, and Isthanika was tax collecting officer under Pradeshika. District was controlled by administered by Rajukas, and they were assisted by Yuktas, revenue collecting revenue collecting officer at district level. The group of villages was administered by Gopal, and village was administered by village head known as Gramini. Asoka Ashokan edicts. Ashoka effectively used inscription and edicts to interact with the provincial population. The Ashokan territory was very big. It is stretched from northern part to southern part of India, and the east to west stretch is also very large. So to communicate with its people directly, Ashoka used inscription or edicts. The Ashokan edicts is divided majorly into 33 inscriptions. In 33 inscriptions, you will find minor edicts, then major rock edicts, 14 major rock edicts, and 7 major pillar edicts. In rock edicts, there was inscription on big rock. In pillar edicts, there was a big pillar in which inscription were written. Minor edicts were religious in nature. Minor edicts were related to Buddhism, but major edicts were secular in nature. They were moral persuasion in major edicts. The chronology of Ashokan edicts: he first engraved minor rock edict, then major rock edict. With major rock edict, he also built minor pillar edict, and in last he built major pillar edicts. Ashokan edicts. The location of Ashokan edicts is from Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Ashokan edicts are majorly in three language and four script. The first language is Prakrit, written in Brahmi script and Kharoshti script in Pakistan region. And Brahmi and Kharoshthi script was deciphered by James Prinsep in 1837. The second language was Greek. It was written in Greek script in northwest region, and the third language was Aramaic. Aramaic was written in Aramaic script in northwest region. Minor Rock Edict at Kandhara is a bilingual inscription in Greek and Aramaic. Is the earliest Asokan inscription written in the 10th year of his reign. In Ashokan inscription, Devanampi Piyadasi was used for King Ashoka. Devanampi means dearer to gods, and Piyadasi means good looking. Only in few minor edicts he was mentioned with his name Ashoka. These edicts are Maski minor rock edict where he was mentioned as Ashoka, Maski and Brahmagiri in Karnataka, Gujjara in MP and Nettur and Andhra Pradesh. Musky edict uh, in Musky edict it was written in Brahmi script with name Devanampi Ashoka. And from Musky edict, historian concluded that Devanampi Piyadasi is same as Ashoka. In starting, it was confusion who was Devanampi Piyadasi, but from Musky edict, historian confirmed that it Devanampi Piyadasi is term is used for Ashoka. In Bhabru edicts, he in Bhabru edicts he mentioned himself as king of Magध, only in Bhabru edicts. At Kanganhali in Karnataka, a Mahastupa or Adholoka Mahachat was discovered, where the only surviving stone portrait was present with an inscription. The, ins- the inscription below his stone portrait is Ranyu Asoka, and it's mean King Asoka in Brahmi script. And it was just below the portrait. We get only one statue of King Asoka, and it was at Kanganhali. Here is the map that depicts the edicts of Asoka. The rectangular box shows major rock edict, triangular one shows pillar edicts, and white rectangular is used to show minor rock edicts. So you can see there is in Kandahar you will find Asokan edict in Sabajgadi, in Mansehr, in Kalsi, Delhi, Topra, Meerut, Lohariya, Nandganj. At various place you will find Asokan edict. In south you will find Jera, Gurdi, and Amravati. Asokan major rock edicts. The rock edicts are instruction. There were 14 instruction, and it was listed in this slide. And in any rock, when there are 14 instruction, and in one rock inscription you will find combination of these instruction. Not it is not like rock edict one is written only one rock. Um, you will find on one rock you will find rock inscription of rock edict 1, rock edict 3, rock edict 4, etc. And and you will find the same inscription at other places. So the numbering is not related to places. It was 14 instruction given by King Ashoka. So rock edict 1 or instruction number 1 is written on rock is prohibis it was prohibition for animal slaughter. The rock edict 2 is care for man and animal. And in this rock edict 2 mention of southern kingdom Chola, Pandya, Kerala, Putra and Satyaput was mentioned. In rock edict 3 you will find Rajakus and Yukta to propagate Dhamma. In rock edict 4 you will find Dhamma Ghosh over Bheri Ghosa. In Rock Edict 5, you will find appointment of Dham Mahamantra and soft policy towards slave. In Rock Edict 6, uh, there was welfare there was mention of welfare measures. In Rock Edict 7, tolerance for all the religion. Rock Edict 8, Ashoka's first Dham Yatra, Bodh Gaya to Bodhi tree. Rock Edict 9 condemns popular ceremony. Rock Edict 10 condemns the desire of glory and fame. Rock Edict 11 it elaborates Dhamma. Rock Edict 12 tolerance for all religion and sect. It was almost same as Rock Edict 7. Rock Edict 13 largest inscription mention about Kaling War and Dham victory over various kingdom. He Ptolemy, Philadelphus, Alexandra, Antiochus, Chola, and Pandya. He sent his ambassador at all in the kingdom of all these kings. Rock Edict 14, it was engraving of inscription in different part of territory. The purpose of these 14 rock edicts. Asoka Pillar Edict. The Asoka Pillar Edict usually made of Chunar sandstone and the pillar has four parts. The first one is shaft, second is capital, third is abacus, and fourth one is animal. You can see in the figure, the shaft was not shown. Shaft was big pillar, and on the pillar you will find capital. In this figure, it was taken from Sarnath capital, lion capital. So in this, the capital is inverted lotus. Above capital, you will find abacus, and above abacus there is capital animal figure, and in Sarnath pillar it was lion. Shaft. It was single piece of sandstone monolith, sandstone or monolith. Uh, the pillar was made from sandstone from Chunar, Mathura, and Amravati region. Capital on the top of shaft and inverted lotus or bell-shaped capital. The bell-shaped capital was taken from Iranian pillar. Abacus was circular or rectangular base on the top of capital, and animal, capital animal, the fourth part of pillar was capital animal, and it was a lion or bull, and in Sarnath pillar it was four lion in capital animal figure. The abacus and animal of Sarnath pillar together form the national emblem of India. Four abacus animal on national emblem separated by wheel or chakra are lion. Lion represent north, elephant represent south, bull represent east, and horse represent west. Two pillar, one from Meerut and one from Topara, were relocated by Firoz Shah Tughlaq to Delhi. Asoka pillar edict. Location of the important pillars: Kausambi, Allahabad, Topara, New Delhi, Meerut, New Delhi, Loharia, Loharia, Araraj, Loharia, Nandangarh, Rampurwa, Delhi, Topra. And the seven edict or seven instruction are as follows. Pillar edict 1 to protect his people, pillar edict 2 regarding Dhamma, pillar edict 3 avoid cruelty and harassment among his subjects, pillar edict 4 duty of Rajukas, pillar edict 5 two list of animal and birds. List 1 enlist animals and bird not to be killed on certain days, and list 2 enlist animal that should never be killed. Pillar Edict 6 was regarding Dhamma policy of state. Pillar Edict 7 tolerance for all sects. These are seven instructions. Apart from seven, uh, there are some minor pillar. One is Rumindei pillar or in Nepal. It was in Lumbini. The Ruminde is another name of Lumbini. So Ashoka visit this pillar described the Ashoka visit to Lumbini and making Lumbini tax free. He made only uh, only the tax that was made free to Lumbini was Bali only. And but the Lumbini people has to deposit bhag as 1/8 of their agriculture produce. Only Bali was tax free. No Bali tax was applied to Lumbini region. In Nigali Sagar pillar in Nepal, it was mentioned that um, this pillar was originally at birthplace of Kanak Muni Buddha, and Kanak Muni Buddha was past Buddha birth of uh, before the birth of Gautam Buddha. Ashoka enlarged the size of Kanak Muni Buddha stupa. Not all pillars have inscription on it. Historian found few plain pillars, no inscription on it at all. In Allahabad pillar, you will find Ashokan inscription in Prakrit language. Then sometime it is also known as Queen's Edict because it also mentions the charitable deeds of Queen Korvaki, and she was queen of Ashoka. She was wife of Ashoka. In the same Allahabad pillar, you will find inscription of Samudragupta, and he wrote the the inscription related to Samudragupta were written in Sanskrit language. Then in the same Allahabad pillar, you will find Jahangir inscription written in Persian script. Tax system in Mauryan Empire. Tax imposed on agricultural society. Bhag was The first tax was Bhag. It was 1/4 to 1/6 of agriculture produce. Second is Pindikara. It was tax imposed on the group of villages in the form of providing supplies or services to royal army when the army passes through that region or that area. Third tax is Hiranya, and this tax is to is to be paid in cash only. Fourth one is Bali, and it was a religious tax. Fifth one is Pranaya. Pranaya literally means a gift of affection. So it was voluntary in nature, but sometimes imposed by state in the case of emergency. First, first it was elaborated in Earth's Earth for the first time. It was, sixth is Udaka Bhaga, and it was tax on irrigation system. Apart from agriculture activities, there was tax on import, export, sales, and other activities also, including gambling activity and prostitution. The tax officer are Samharta. He The job of Samharta is to do assessment, and he was tax collecting officer. Another tax officer was Sani Dhatra, and he was treasurer of Mauryan Empire. There was provision for capital punishment for tax evasion. So the punishment was very harsh. If someone evade the tax, if someone did not pay tax, then he will get capital punishment. The term Janpada Nivesa, to improve the economy, the Mauryan Empire used to settle new Janpad on barren land, and this they were used to do with the help of Sudra cultivators. They took Sudra cultivators to new area and asked them to do agriculture activity in that area, and this was known as Janpada Nivesa. The Sita term was used to refer government land, and there was Sita Adyach who was in charge of Sita land, and he used to monitor the agriculture activity on government land. So sometime you will find in book that Sita Adyach is in charge of agriculture. The administration of Mauryan Empire is the king was assisted by Council of Ministers, Mantri Parishad, Purohit, Mahamantri, Senapati, Yuvraj, and Amatya. Amatya were responsible for day-to-day administration, and their selection method was described by Kautil in Arthashastra. There was very tough. The selection method was very tough, uh, and the high-ranking officials were known as Tirthas. Purohit, Mahamantri, Senapati, Yuvraj, Amatya, and many more high officials were known as Tirthas. The second rank was Adhyaksh. Adhyaksh was ranked next to Tirthas, and they were responsible for economic and military administration. Army was headed by Senapati, who supervised six committees, each with five members, and this committee was headed by Adhyaksh. So Senapati used to supervise six Adhyaksh. First one is infantry, second is cavalry, third is chariot, fourth elephant, fifth navy, and sixth is transport. The administration of Patliputra was done by six committee: industry, manufacturing and sales, sales tax, trade, foreigners, and death and birth registration. The census was performed on a regular basis for both humans and animals. In modern time, Dharmadhikari was highest judicial officer, where Vyavaharik Mahamat were judicial officer. Mahamatya, Mahamatya Pas, Pasarpa, Mahamat Pasarpa, he was head of spy department, and under his a number of spies used to work, and these spies were known as Gudha Pursas. There are two type of Gudha Pursas. First one is Sansthana, uh, that were stationary Gudha Pursas. The spies who used to spy a particular region are known as Sansthana, and the second category of Gudha Pursas are Sanchari or Wanderer. They used to spy over a large region. They wander from one area to another and another to the another important officer of Mauryan Empire was Yukta. He was subordinate officer for revenue collection. Sanstha Adhyaksh. He was superintendent of mint department. Samstha Adhyaksh. He was superintendent of market department. Panya Adhyaksh, officer of commerce department. Sulk Adhyaksh, superintendent of toll. Ayudha Adhyaksh, superintendent of defense department. Kunya Adhyaksh, officer for forest department. Loha Adhyaksh, superintendent of iron. Lakshana Adhyaksh, superintendent of coin minting. There was Sanstha Adhyaksh, who was superintendent of mint. Then we have Lakshana Adhyaksh, who was superintendent of coin minting. Akara Adhyaksh, superintendent of mines. Lavana Adhyaksh, superintendent of iron. Lavana Adhyaksh is superintendent of salt, not for iron. Nava Adhyaksh, superintendent of ship. Patana Patana Adhyaksh, officer of port. Pot- Puthava Adhyaksh, superintendent of weight and measure. Suna Adhyaksh, slaughterhouse officer, and Dyuta Adhyaksh, gambling department officer. Other officer were Pulisanj, he was public relation officer. Durgapal, governor of fort. Antapala, governor of frontier. Achyatapala, accountant general. Lipikara, scripts. Karmantika, head of industry and factories. Nagarka, head of municipalities. Dandapala, head of police. And lockup were known as Chakra. Prasasti, head of prison. And jail were known as Bandhan Grah, Bandhan Kara. In modern time, the use of brick and ring wells led to better development. We seen that brick were used in Harappan civilization. After that, we found that um, the use of mud brick, not the burnt brick. But in modern empire, the use of brick restarted, and they built ring wells so that people can live in villages. They don't need to settle village at the bank of river only. Earlier, for the water purpose, they they used to settle nearby river, but after ring wells, they can settle in different location that is far away from river also. Around 884,000 stupas, mostly brick-based stupa, were built during Mauryan times, but very few survived, like Sanchi stupa. Sanchi stupa was stone stupa built by Asoka. Dasarath, grandson of Asoka, built Barbara and Nagarjuni caves. The last Mauryan ruler, Brihadrath, was killed by his minister Pusung in 185 BC. The reason for decline of Mauryan Empire. The first one is weak successor of Asoka. Second is the religious policy of Asoka antagonized the Brahman. He banned on sacrifices and introduced Vyavahar Samhita and Danda Samhita, same punishment for all Varna. So Brahman were not happy with the policy of Asoka. Third is huge expenditure on army and bureaucracy. Large donation to Buddhist monks made the royal treasury empty, and this hurted the financially to later ruler. Fourth is oppressive rule in provinces, and fifth is negligence of northwest frontier region. After the death of Asoka, northwest region was captured by Indo-Greek. Sixth is widespread use of iron led to shift in power from central to local level. Earlier, the power was vested in Patliputra area only because iron ore extraction and how to make iron, knowledge of making iron. But with the spread of iron making knowledge, the power was shifted from central to local level. Here is the map of post-Mauryan Empire. After the end of Mauryan Empire, we find Patliputra was ruled by Sunga dynasty, which was succeeded by Karun dynasty. The Odisha region was ruled by Meghvarman dynasty. In Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra region, there was Satvahana dynasty, and in northwest frontier region, foreign attack started. First came Indo-Greek, then Indo-Scythians, then Parthian, then Kusan came. So this is all about Mauryan Empire. I will end my lecture here. Thank you.